Hello guys, good morning. Today's Wednesday. Beginning of this week was a little rough. Yesterday I didn't even work. I kept my daughter home, but it was a rough day. It was gloomy and I just was very tired yesterday and I was not trying to deal with my daughter. This little guy's upstairs today. The last vlog was a zoo vlog, but I think the next time I go to the zoo will be a better vlog. What are you looking at? He comes up and just looks at me for a little bit. And then he'll go back and do what he's doing. What do you want? Hello. Good morning. It was a crazy week. So the Oscars, I know I had nothing filmed this week, but what happened at the Oscars? So let's talk about it. My opinion on the matter is I think Will was justified. I don't agree with violence. However, you can't make those types of jokes. That's punching down. My personal opinion on comedy is that it is meant to make people laugh. Point blank, period. How you do that is all in your principle and your morals and your values, right? So to me, comedy can be done in a very tasteful manner. It doesn't have to necessarily be making fun of people about things that are out of their control, things that they feel insecure about. It doesn't have to be racist, misogynistic. It doesn't have to be homophobic or transphobic. It doesn't have to be all of those things. It shouldn't be all of those things. Did we used to do it in the past? 1000%. But does that make it okay still and continuing into the future? Absolutely not. We are meant to evolve as humans, and that part of doing that is understanding that there's things that you should just not talk about like that. That's not appropriate. That's very distasteful. Comedy used to be very distasteful. It used to be very racist. It used to be very misogynistic, and we started calling that shit out because that's not appropriate. There's things that you can't say, and people kind of hate that you can't do that anymore, but not the people that you have been making fun of for years. Those people have been sitting quiet because they feel like they couldn't do anything. And in recent years, we've been standing up for that. We've been calling it out. We've been taking care of it. And this is coming from somebody who makes comedy skits. I don't say this out of not knowing, right? My opinion on comedy and the best way to do it is good storytelling, right? Things that people find relatable. The beat of the joke, how it flows, right? You no longer have to degrade somebody in order to make something funny. Terrible personalities, 1000%. And that's what I do in my comedy skits. People that are overly entitled, 1000%. That's what I do in my comedy skit. I do this on TikTok. I know what is in good taste and what necessarily isn't. There's certain ways to talk about people. That's all I'm saying. Chrisrock was just very out of line. Jada just got this diagnosis not that long ago. It's still an open wound. You can't, that's not something that you just laugh off, right? You could, just the same way somebody could laugh off cancer because they're about to fucking die. But do people make fun of people with cancer? Do you see comedians out here making fun of people with cancer? Now, maybe that's an extreme comparison, but at the same time, that's a thing in somebody that they cannot change. It is an insecurity. It is a wound that they received in their life that they now have to deal with. And they have to deal with it every day. As an individual, as somebody who's not in the public eye, for me, as much as, Jada is, because I don't think currently at my status right now, I don't think I'm in the public eye. But for somebody to have to deal with that on a public stage is a lot more than they would have to deal with it in private or as a person who isn't in front of the world. But because she's in front of the world, she has to deal with it publicly. She has to let people know, hey, this is something that I'm dealing with right now. Thank you for understanding. She doesn't have to explain more than that. And for somebody to completely take that as an opportunity to make a joke about it, comedians have been making disgusting jokes for years. They can't do that shit anymore. There's better ways to do comedy. There's things like self-deprecating jokes. Self-deprecating jokes. Cool. Make a joke about that. Make a joke about yourself. The things that you have to deal with. Your own insecurities. Because that's relatable. But don't make fun of somebody else who has something that they can't control, that you don't have, that you don't understand. A lot of the world doesn't understand because alopecia is not in everyone. It is not necessarily relatable, except for the people that have it. Just something to keep in mind. There's a way to do comedy. Take the temperature of the room. Sometimes things just aren't fucking funny. And as comedians, they have to take accountability for that. Again, that's my 2 cents on it. I've seen commentary all over social media from people on both sides of the story. Will was probably laughing at something else. Jada was smiling too, but then she turned her head and rolled her eyes and that was it. Now people are comparing this whole situation to what Will and Jada went through with August. And that whole situation did not have to come to light. They didn't bring it to light. Somebody else did. I think it was August. But somebody else brought that to light. So they had to handle it in the public eye. They wouldn't have had to if nobody said anything. That was a relationship situation. It had nothing to do with everybody else. But because it was brought to light, they had to address it. And they did. And they explained themselves, and they said what they had to say. Will reluctantly, I think, said what he had to say, but he still said it. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's YouTube video. I know there wasn't much going on in this video, but not too much went on this week. So that was just something that I wanted to talk about, because I think that was a very important topic that I think plenty of people are talking about and criticizing. But you also have to put it into perspective. You have to take into account the whole situation, what you would have done. Putting yourself in other people's shoes is very important to do. If you guys liked this topic in the video, please like the video, comment down below your opinions on the topic. Subscribe to my channel, turn on those post notifications so you know when I'm posting next. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.